1 month and a half of walking, alone in my favorite mountain range. I'm Denisa. I'm from the Czech Republic, living in France, cat lover, and I really like crossing things. And this is my story of crossing the Pyrenees. Again. I carried my 14-kilo backpack from one valley to another, only by the strength of my legs, the determination of my mind, and my love for these beautiful mountains. But my love story with the Pyrenees began a bit earlier than that. In 2020, I crossed them for the first time on the GR10. I was 22 and it was the first time I ever camped alone. I was really afraid, but it turns out there are no monsters in the Pyrenees, only cows. And as I kept walking, I realized that I'm way stronger than I thought and that the world is less scary than I thought. At the time, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, but I fell in love with the Pyrenees. So much that 3 years later, I finished my second crossing of the Pyrenees, this time on the GR11. It's a strange feeling to finish an adventure like that. Getting to the end of the line on the map is bittersweet. It all feels unreal, like a mirage of some sort. Did it even happen? Feet in the sea. Suddenly, all I'm left with are painful knees and a melange of unclear memories and hazy impressions. Where did the way go? When did the mystery become a memory? If the Pyrenees have taught me something, it's that I cannot control anything but my own steps. And that's why I'm here, simply to walk and to enjoy it. To turn big mountains into small moments. Let's start at the beginning. It all begins in the Basque Country. It didn't start easy, but it started right. For the first 5 days, I had a great company, but also a terrible flu. It was raining so much, every day. It wasn't easy. Objectively, it kind of sucked. But I think what things are is never as important as what we make out of them. So despite everything, we laughed, we cooked, and we shared an adventure. Amr was making me some ginger tea in hopes that I will get better, which I didn't. And unlike me, he likes to cook, and he had this idea to make bread. At first, all I saw was the trouble of carrying flour in the backpack, making fire and having sticky flour fingers. He didn't care about any of that, he just cared about the bread. And just like that, we ended up having an evening I'll never forget. A lesson for the lonesome days ahead. It's been a bit over a week now that I'm on the GR11. Now I'm alone and I walk. I think only of water, food and sleep. The weather have finally cleared up and so did my nose. I feel strong again and really grateful for that. And also for the sun and the dry weather. It really makes things easier being dry and warm. I spend my days listening to the sound of cowbells, and in the evenings I watch the sun disappear behind the peaks in the distance. I was slowly getting used to the life on the trail, finding my own rhythm and routines. I didn't have much food, I didn't have much water, I didn't take any shower. I really didn't have much, but I had all that I needed. And in the end, it's really in these moments that I feel ultimately rich and free. I'm leaving behind the soft hills of Navarra, entering the mythical valleys of Aragon. The mountains grow wilder, bigger, and more spectacular every day. The more stunning they get, they also become a bit more frightening. Humanity feels so small and insignificant in their majestic shadows. But it is next to them where I feel the most what it truly means to be human. And sometimes it's pretty confusing to be a human. I wish I could be one of the cows and just look at the view without much thought. But who knows, maybe they worry as much as I do about stuff they cannot control. It's really quiet here, yet my mind stays busy, with funny thoughts or scary fears. It's always about the next. But my journey isn't about the next, it's about now. And I really have to remind myself to stay where I am and feel what I'm feeling. Because even though this journey isn't always easy, it's absolutely worth experiencing fully. Because in meeting my fragility, I'm also meeting my strength. I can see that courage can live in the same body as fear. And I think that to be human is, above all, to be courageous. We keep walking through life, no matter how scary and uncomfortable it can sometimes get to be. Two weeks on the GR11. The Inferno Pass, aka the Hell Pass. This climb was really scary. Really dark and full of loose stones, really steep. It just felt so lifeless. At places like these, I really wonder if humans should be everywhere. Well, I was definitely doubting if I should be there, especially when I saw the ropes going up the dark, rocky mountain. When there's a rope, there is usually trouble. When I was not taking a selfie, I was holding on for my dear life and hoping I would not take a wrong step. I was stepping into a land that belongs to the elements, not to me. It felt foreign and lacking life. Yet, paradoxically, there is often in these lifeless landscapes that I truly feel alive. I feel at home and safe in the mountains, but they are not to be taken lightly. Because one wrong step and the light can turn dark. So no matter what, I walk them with respect. I walk on stones, I eat between stones. I sleep between stones, and then I stare at stones. Stones are my whole life now. Yeah, lately I was thinking that some moments are simply more powerful when they are shared. As if the hills weren't that steep until there's somebody else to confirm their steepness. As if confirmation and shared perspective with a different person made the experience somehow more valid than when it's lived solely by me. But most of the time, I really enjoy being by myself. I actually became quite a good partner to myself. Laughing at my jokes, preparing tomorrow's lunch for me. I wasn't always good to myself, not at all. And now I see myself being kind at places where I used to be harsh. And it's really nice to see. For that, I'm also grateful to the Pyrenees. You see this one? This is where I climbed up yesterday, and then I had to go down somewhere there on the stone wall. Seeing it from far, I have no idea how I did it or where there's the wall. Oh, I see it here. There's the trail. Hello. I had to descend 1,200 meters in 4 kilometers. In translation, that's really fucking steep. Yeah, it's tough. But I'm so excited because I just catched some internet connection after a few days. And I booked a freaking hotel starting from tomorrow for 2 nights. So I'll be sleeping in a bed and I'll take care of like this mess. And it's gonna be freaking amazing, and I'm just so happy, even though I'm a bit miserable at the moment because I really don't like this hill. It's not nice. I was so looking forward to this because I have nothing to eat. I'm so dirty, I'm so disgusting, and I need a rest day. My body is doing well, I feel fine, but my head is starting to get a bit tired from like shit like that. And shopping because I need food. No shops since like a week. Well, there was a shop. Yeah, those shops that I meet on the way, like the little shops, are not really hikers friendly. Like, I don't know, I don't want to buy a bottle of milk or a 8-pack of eggs and like carry it in my backpack. Like, the only thing I could buy was like pasta and a peach. And since I was at that shop in the morning, I wanted to get something for breakfast. The only thing like for breakfast was a 4-pack of yogurt. So I bought the yogurt, but I had to eat all the 4 little pots of yogurt because I don't want to carry yogurt in my backpack. That sounds like a catastrophe coming. Well, either way, eating 4 pots of yogurt is also not ideal, especially if you're slightly lactose intolerant. So yeah, lots of fun in the Pyrenees, like experiencing different kinds of shit, literally. It's day 18 on the GR11, and I have just finished a really long descent. It was brutal. I did not enjoy it. So tomorrow I have to walk around 20 kilometers and I'll be sleeping there. And then I have a rest day. I have a whole day of nothing, whole day of not walking, whole day of being in my bed. Because my knees, these ones, they're like speaking to me like, hi, please have a rest day. Don't use us, we're just tired. And my brain is obviously doing the same. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing this video. That's what a lot of days of solitude do to you. Just speak to your phone, to yourself, because the best friend is in the reflection of the mirror. And I have no energy to get water, so I'm just gonna survive with like less than a liter of water for the night. I don't know what I'm eating. I don't have much choice. I'm pretty sure that for breakfast I'm eating pasta with sugar. I'm in a forest, and the forest is nice. There's mountains, and I'm just like sitting here and I'm waiting for my tent to build itself because it feels like I just can't do anything else tonight. Okay, I think we got it. I really needed a rest day. To be honest, I just wanted to drink wine and be in a clean bed, watching my favorite TV show and just switch off for a moment. And that's what I did. Apologies for cooking pasta in the window of my hotel room. For a few days, I need to be careful about how much I eat and drink, because there aren't many options to resupply. It's really just me and the wilderness. It's strange to be so far from everything, everyone. Drinking only from rivers and showering in the same river, or very often not showering at all. Usually I just stick to the rule of 3, face, hands and the bottom. Each drop of water, everything I have, becomes really precious. For 3 days, I had no connection to the outside world. I only speak to cows. During the day, my phone stays in the airplane mode, and in the evenings, I have no connection. I like it that way. My typical evening looks something like this. I sit in my tent, eating, and it feels timeless. Often there's a storm, so I listen and I enjoy. I write or read until I fall asleep. When I wake up, I lie in my sleeping bag for quite a while. I am not a morning person. I make coffee, pack, and then I walk. I walk no matter what the weather is like, but most of the days the sun was greeting me in the morning, even if it didn't stay up for too long. Arriving at the call at the same time as the storm. It's raining just a tiny bit. Storm seems to get bigger and bigger. I don't like storm at the top of a mountain. Okay, that's my sign to keep walking. The Pyrenees really became my whole reality these days. Days are now melting into some cloudy stream of unrelated memories. I lose dimension of time and connection to the outside world, outside of my experience. I know the world is out there, but the Pyrenees kinda overpower it all. I'm in a different world where nothing else is happening besides what is happening in my closest surroundings. World of no birthdays, no wars, no politics, no work, no what should I be doing this weekend? World of no friends and no family. It's a strange world. World of the mountains and the stones, of birds, flies and marmots, of the sound of thunder and the silence. During this time, the storms were really irregular and really strong. But in the Pyrenees, there's a lot of refugios or cabans, free shelters where you can sleep. Usually it fits between 2 to 12 people. Personally, I never had a problem of caban being too full. I did have a problem of a caban being full of mice, but not people. I really don't sleep there often, only when the weather is really bad, and I was really glad I was sleeping there that night because the storm was huge. And also I met Jesus, he was hiking for a couple of days, a really nice guy, and he had a really solid beer supply, which he was very happy to share with me. I spent a lot of time with stones and marmots. I'm getting pretty good at boulder hopping. It awakens my inner Lara Croft, and I actually have a lot of fun. I used to be a very nerdy kid, sitting behind a computer all the time, playing video games, seeking adventure through the screens. And, well, now I get the chance to experience it firsthand. I have never seen so many lakes in my life. I don't like swimming too much, but in a place like this, I couldn't resist. Plus, it counts as a shower. I felt really good. I don't actually have much to say because I was just really enjoying my time. I felt strong, I walked until the sunset, ate sandwiches with views I was only ever dreaming of. I felt really at peace here, present. And every time I think about these days, I smile. This is what I came here for. The weather was pretty brutal these days. Even the cows decided to go down the mountain. A lot of rain, a lot of wind. First snowfall. The biggest storm I probably camped in. I could feel the ground shaking, thunder so loud it felt like all the big mountains around me are falling down. It lasted all night. It felt strange to be outside in such conditions, protected only by a thin layer of a fabric. Quite the experience. Always fighting with the elements took a lot of my energy. I felt really tired trying to catch up on the lost calories with big pasta bowls, but I just wanted to sleep. All the time. In moments like these, I often wonder, what the hell am I doing here? I keep thinking of being somewhere else, doing something else, something easier. But being somewhere and doing something we normally wouldn't is an opportunity to be curious and to find comfort in discomfort. Staying is hard in the moment, but I find it rewarding in the long run. After the first snowfall, the temperatures dropped a lot and the nights are especially chilly. I shared some kilometers with Gerard, which was really lovely. It was nice to have a conversation with a human. I was sleeping in this camping, and when I was searching for it, I also saw that they offer pizza. I can't tell you how much I was excited for that pizza. Nothing else mattered for me than pizza. My life depended on that pizza. It was the worst pizza of my life, and I really felt that this is the moment that will break me. Not the storm, not being alone for days, but the pizza. The next morning, somebody stole my knife and my dish sponge at the camping, which made me really angry. Do not steal a girl's favorite knife. And well, that was enough for my excursion to the civilization. Time to disappear into the heights. The day I slept at a space station. It's cold. Almost September. Trying to warm myself up. I see somebody has written here on the bed, love and peace, always. Cute. Well, definitely not on a day that somebody stole my knife. Just casually sipping my tea in a spaceship. That's a cool evening.
this is what it's like to climb on these stupid little stones. It's stupid. And it's moving. Awesome. Fucking hell. More to go. The top is somewhere there. How to start your morning ride. Hallelujah. That horrible climb was my door to Andorra. Welcome to Andorra. Okay.
In Andorra, I found this hotel for €60 with private access to sauna and jacuzzi. In the state I was at the time, I was like, okay Andorra, take my money. My knees are not doing well, at all. They are both pretty swollen and getting in and out of the tent becomes a pretty difficult task. But when I walk, it's okay. At this point, I have a lot of mysterious pains, but the knees are the only one that really worries me. A big part of trekking is water. I need to find water, filter it, and make sure I always have enough, sometimes for the whole day and night. Out here, water really decides everything. Where I stop, how far I go, and how I feel. But no matter how good of a plan I have, it doesn't always work out. So there wasn't any water in the fountain that I was kind of counting on for my dry camping, but at least there's beer in my backpack, so cheers! Day after day, I keep walking. And generally, I feel really happy, dirty and hungry. Some days I really hate it. I'm in pain, frustrated. And other days I'm in complete awe. I can't believe I get to experience so much of this world. This is life in the wilderness, both extremes and often in the same hour. When it gets hard, I need to think about my why. Why am I here? For the sparkle in my eyes every time I see a new peak. For finding joy again in things that became mundane. And of course, for all the cows. But in some moments, it's too hard to understand my why. And in those cases, just do it for the glute. It's day 34. I saw the sign. 233 kilometers until the end. That's soon. Too soon. Suddenly, the idea of reaching the end made me feel nauseous. Or perhaps it was the 2 days old boiled egg that I ate, or the combination of both. If you're ever hiking and you have a boiled egg that's been in your backpack for about 3 days, and you will be asking yourself, should I still eat it or not? Do not. Trust me. Do not. For 4 days I could basically just eat bread. Not the best time of my life. I can't imagine not being here anymore. Not being dirty, sweaty, frustrated, in awe. Not waking up in my sleeping bag, coffee in hand, watching the mountains. then packing all my things and going into the unknown.
I've been running backwards directions, all my hands accept my confession. I've been spinning in and out again.
What I love about the Pyrenees is that you're never really alone.
Hi.
There's so many friendly cows and horses. Well, sometimes even too friendly.
I'm not sharing. No. My bread.
I don't know how I forgot to mention this before, but the Pyrenees, that's also the ever-present sound of cowbells. The seasons shift. Golden coats of autumn cover the peaks. The flowers are gone. The air is sharp. The Pyrenees are slowing down. And in all of my layers to keep me somewhat warm, so do I. It's so beautiful up here. It's actually my last day at high altitude. I will miss it, but I also crave stillness, rest, a cup of tea. I'm looking forward to find a routine again. A long morning in the bed and breakfast that doesn't come from the bottom of my bag. I got used to being the company only of me, cows, horses, and different kinds of pain. But I'm quite ready to have a coffee with my friend and be back in the world where I have to do something other than to walk. Finally, it looks like I'm making peace with the fact that even this journey must come to an end. But for now, there's still about a week of walking ahead of me. As soon as I left the high altitude, my mind was already back home. I was not really enjoying being on the road anymore, but I kept going. I knew I could walk until the end, but at some point I just really didn't want to.
In the morning, every time I wake up and I'm like, I'm so happy to be here. I don't want it to end. I'm afraid for it to end. And then when I start walking, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm really done.
Maybe that I've done enough of hard things to know that my worth doesn't depend on them. Me and my backpack, we start to look alike. I spent the last week walking in bushes. I was bored. But hey, after all, 43 days of walking alone is really quite a lot. And I really didn't want to finish my trip in this mood because this journey was so good and I felt like it really deserves a proper dot at the end of the story. So, in the last moment, I decided to not continue the last kilometers on the GR11. Instead, I decided to go to the place where it all began, 3 years ago, on the GR10. And so here I am, and the place where it all began. Back then, on my first day in the Pyrenees, right around here, I met a guy who was just finishing his hike. I asked him if he's sad that it's over, because with my clothes still clean from home and a fresh baguette, I thought I never want this adventure to end. But he didn't seem as excited. He just wanted to be done with it, he told me. And I really couldn't understand it back then. Now I do. Me too, I just wanted to be done with it. It doesn't mean that the journey wasn't great. In fact, it means it really was. I'm tired, and I'm looking forward to wrap it up and let the memory of it enrich my life everywhere I go. After such a long time in the wilderness kind of overtakes me. There's something animalistic, primitive about the way I eat, speak, and move. The wilderness is in my expressions. I feel really tough, dusty, and sweaty. But I can wash all of that away, and only the good things will stay. That first night camping alone, right here, I was really scared then, and I'm not anymore. The Pyrenees made me strong but humble. They taught me joy and discomfort, silence and chaos, kindness and solitude. They made me at home in the wilderness. They really helped me find home within me. It took many small steps, but just like that, I crossed the Pyrenees.